Hello and welcome to Dice Friends. My name is Jeremy. I am going to be your visiting game master for today. And we're going to be playing a game that I am actually incredibly excited about. This is a little while ago, I think it was like well over a year ago, Kickstarter did something called Zine Quest, where they encouraged people to pitch projects that were in the style of like old school Dungeons and Dragons zines. So the sort of homemade D&D culture back in the earlier days of the game. I'm specifically thinking of like the 70s and 80s, but it was really amazing, and people printed up their own supplements and started creating like producing them themselves and distributing them potentially illicitly, because no one really knew how the trademark and copyright laws around games worked at that time, to game stores that they knew and their friends and whatnot, and putting them out in products that were in some cases actually very widely distributed and well known, like Grimtooth's trap books and things like that became pretty notorious. So Zine Quest was like this. It was like do a Kickstarter that's like a very short Kickstarter for a cool short product. And one of the ones that really caught my eye was this one, called a Rasp of Sand. I don't actually have my print copy of this yet, but there's the cover from my PDF version, and it is written by Dave Cox. And largely illustrated by Dave Cox. It has some interior illustration by Jake Morrison. But it is a very, very cool little game. And I will give you the premise of it now. So the three of you who are here, why don't you guys introduce yourselves actually first? Can I get an intro?
Sure, I'll start. I'll go. Hi, I'm Andy. I am a person who is going to be playing a game, and my name is Andy. Hello.
And in alphabetical order, we'll go next. I am Ian, and Ian Horner, and today I'll be playing We'll Find Out very shortly. It's all blank.
And I'm Kathleen, and I also don't know what I'm doing in life in this game. Who knows? You know.
I feel the same way most of the time. So yeah, this is a system game. This is an adventure for a game called Knave, which is a simplified rule system for old school D&D. Now, what makes a Rasp of Sand really interesting is how I think it really nicely incorporates some of the rules conceits of old school Dungeons and Dragons into its narrative. So I'll give you the narrative now, and that is the three of you come from a village that at some point in the long, long ago history needed a source of water. You had all sorts of amazing resources. You had access to sea. You had access to the sea. You had access to the forest. You had access to the mountains. You didn't really have fresh water, and so you came up with the brilliant plan of stealing the crown from the Lady of the Deep, who is a very powerful water spirit, and using that to create fresh water. And a bunch of intermediary stuff happened. She was going to let you get away with it, but maybe you pushed things a little bit too far. Your ancestors did, and well, things did not go super well. She got pretty angry and ended up flooding at least most of the area that you inhabited. So where you used to have this nice little coastal community, you had to move to the top of a mountain, because the top of the mountain is now like a tiny island. And it turns out the temple that your ancestors stole the crown from was already at the top of a mountain, so it's also on a little island that you can see from your island over there. Now, you've managed to avoid getting completely flooded out through the very utilitarian method of having one young person from your island taken over to the Deep Queen's Temple and sacrificed once every 25 years. Now, this is something that went on for quite a long time, but this generation, your village has a better idea. And the better idea is, hey, maybe if instead of sending one person, we sent 3 people. And instead of just sending them over to be sacrificed, we sent them to take the crown back, which will make the queen happy. She'll stop wanting us to sacrifice people and maybe, like, you know, give us the land back. So that seems like a good solution. And it has the added bonus, because this is a really dangerous thing to be doing, going into the deep queen's temple, the deep lady's temple, to return the crown. If someone were to die, that fulfills the sacrifice clause. So you're all good.
Oh, thank goodness.
So basically, this is an old school D&D adventure, which means that it's pretty dangerous. You're pretty fragile. There's a high chance that the worst could happen and that somebody could die. But if someone dies, that's not the end. What happens is you flee back to your village. Everyone rolls up new characters who are descendants of the same family that your previous characters were from. And we start again 25 years later.
So they bring the crown back and everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you got to take the crown back to the throne room. That is the ultimate goal. If it doesn't get to the throne room, well, there's other inhabitants of the temple who might, you know, monkey with it. So you don't want to deal with that. So yeah, that is the ultimate goal. A few other things that facilitate this in the world. When creatures die in this world, they dissolve into sand, sort of a glassy orb, like large grain sand, and you can ingest this sand to absorb some of the memories and experiences of the creature that it came from. So in game terms, this is experience points. So if a creature dies, it will drop a bunch of sand. You can ingest that sand to get experience points. You can also put that sand into a bag and use it as currency. It is something that is accepted as currency basically universally because it is universally valuable. If you eat it, you level up. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So that's pretty cool, and you will certainly see sand. One of the unique properties of sand, though, most of the financial transactions that are done with it are done with diluted sand. That is sand that is sand that's from a bunch of different creatures.
Just cut the sand?
They're not actually cutting the sand. It's just more like kind of mixing the sand.
Okay.
So
pieces of 8.
Yeah. It's like, this is like generic mob sand, and then maybe you got some high quality sand for the special deals.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a difference to it when you ingest sand. If you ingest if you ingest diluted sand, it's just experience points. But if you ingest pure sand from one creature, and that is either like a monster or it could be your ancestor, then you also get the memories and experiences of that creature. And sometimes it messes with your genetics too, and you might take on more than memories of that creature. So worth knowing if you were able to defeat something in battle and have it drop a bunch of sand. Maybe if you ate it, you would find out more about it. Maybe if you ate it, you would become a little bit more like it. So that's something to think about. It's also, though, mechanically a way for us to ensure that when you do have a character death and you have to play your descendants 25 years later, those descendants have the same memories that you had on the previous run. So you get to retain all of that metagame information for use on your next trip through the dungeon.
So like coffee, once again, single origin matters.
Yes, exactly. Or scotch. I don't know about like monster sand blends. Those aren't really covered in the rules, but I'm sure we can figure something out.
Oh, that's a custom character right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we start by doing some character creation, and we can sort of go from there. So the 3 of you have 2 documents in front of you. One is the rules for Knave, and one of them is the Rasp of Sand, at least character creation stuff. Let's start with the Rasp of Sand character creation stuff. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is create your family, and this is the family that all of your characters will be coming from, similar to like Rogue Legacy. So if you, the first thing that you'll want is a family name, and then you'll see that there's a trade table. I'm going to say that you can choose a trade from that table if you like, instead of rolling randomly. But you can also roll randomly because that's fun, and it's a good way to generate characters quickly. Should you be put into a situation where you wanted to generate characters quickly?
Sure.
Okay.
Gosh, last name's such a difficult question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a hard challenge to start with.
I rolled a 12, so let's make me a warrior
Ooh.
trade. And so my last name shall be Slashfoot.
Slash.
I also rolled a 12, so I'm going to re-roll.
That seems like a good idea.
Ooh, I rolled a 1. So
Academic.
I'm an academic.
Cool.
And I've rolled a 5, which will make me a magician.
Ooh.
Therefore, my family's name shall be Bright Eyes. Turn around, Bright Eyes.
I thought you were just a big fan of Connor Oberst. Thanks for snickering, Jer.
I try.
So is that music that was made after 1970?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. That's
But it's still old. So, what should my academic family name be? The Thinkwells.
Ooh.
Wow.
Very good.
I love it.
God, that's university comic tier.
Thank you,
Love
Ian.
it.
So Paul has, I believe, some images that are by Jake Morrison, who did the internal trade art for these trades, and we'll be putting those up to help represent your characters. The art in this this is absolutely phenomenal. It has I like to think that it's got a bit of a Wind Waker vibe. Tally was saying like a bit of a Rebecca Sugar, like Steven Universe vibe to some of it. I really love it. It really contributes to the feel of the setting, which I think really helps. Can I just, if you want to look through that book and each read out sort of the top paragraph of your trade, and then the ability that it gives you. You are all trade level 1.
Cool.
So you'll each get an ability from that trade.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm a warrior, and the flavor for that is guards, jailers, and bounders. Warriors are professional soldiers. They protect the village and slay any monsters that threaten its shores. I start with a suit of scale armor. And my first thing is tactical retreat. You and your allies don't have to make a morale check when fleeing. That's handy.
Now, this is really important because in this game, there is a specific rule that if you flee from an encounter, you have to make a morale roll. And if you fail that morale roll, you could end up somewhere else in the dungeon that you didn't expect to as a result of fleeing in panic. So always being able to control the circumstances of your own withdrawal is pretty handy.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a difficult question to answer here. Let's say that sounds good. Okay, hey, guess what? I'm a magician. Magicians sway the forces of reality, specifically by inscribing arcane sigils onto massive pearls and enchanting items with sand, capital S. I'm going to choose the ability number 1, Sand Blast. I may choose to spend 100 sand to blast a creature with high velocity sand for 1d10 bludgeoning damage. The creature may make a dex save to have that damage, but not block it completely.
So just to clarify, you are always going to start with the first ability in the chart, and as your trade increases in level, which happens every time you roll a new character, then you get the later abilities. So your individual characters will level up as they progress, but if you die, you start again at level 1, but your trade does increase its level. So you do get some other trade abilities. Now, you also have you get a spell. So if you want to look at the spell table, which you should be able to find in there, you can roll for that randomly for your first air. Spells, they're not okay. So in Knave, this system that we're playing with, you don't memorize spells so much. They are actually parts of your inventory. So in this game, the spells are represented by spell pearls that you scrimshaw the spell into. And you can use them a certain number of times per rest, providing you're carrying them on you. Anyone can actually use them. You don't need to be a wizard to use a spell. But if you are a magician, then you start with one, which is pretty useful.
Also really enjoying the use of the word scrimshaw. Hey, guess what? Rolled 74. That means I get ward. Charges 1. A green circle appears around the room. Choose one species that cannot enter the room. Piscine, crustacean, cephalopod, or cetacean. So I will put that in my stuff.
And Kathleen, what are we looking at for academics?
Well, an academic. Can I read the? Should I read the italic text as well?
Yeah, I would start with that.
All right. You can always spot an academic by their distinctive tall hats. From chroniclers of knowledge to researchers of new technology, academics are well known for their eternal search for knowledge. And so I get an academics kit, which I don't know what that is, but I'll find out later. And my special skill is that I am a researcher. I may spend my rest studying a scroll or bug, and this allows me to learn its effects.
Now, Kathleen, there was a word that got dropped, maybe just for me. Did everyone catch what the word was after scroll? Because it was slug.
Yep.
And this is, yeah.
Sorry.
This is, no, it's okay. It's Skype. But that's important. So your consumable items are slugs. They're like happy little magic slugs, and they live on seaweed and other things like that. And if you eat one, it makes magical things happen. Now, the catch is you'll find slugs of various different colors and with different patterns on them and things like that. And you're not going to know what they do. So having an academic around to identify what the slugs do will help you be a little bit less cautious about using them. Cool. All right, so we have families. We know generally what your families do. So now we can move along to actually creating your heir. So we're going to start with the Knave rules, and we're going to roll some ability scores. You have 6 ability scores, and I'm sure it will shock you to hear that those ability scores are Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. So for each of those scores, you're going to roll 3d6s, but it's not what you think. You're going to roll 3d6s, and you're going to take the lowest number, and you're going to record that as your ability bonus. So if you roll a 1, a 2, and a 5, then your bonus is 1 for that score.
Okay. Whoa, cool. And what about the other 2 numbers? Do you add them and that becomes this is just for the plus?
Yeah, this is just for the bell curve. So it's just to ensure that you have a high chance of having a pretty low score.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that happens in Rasp of Sand specifically is that if you actually get to improve these scores as you level up. If your heir dies and has a relatively high score, then their descendant will get to take the medium die or the high die out of those 3 dice. So there's a chance that you could do have better results as a result of your previous ancestor being more powerful. But for right now, we're just always taking the lowest die and discarding the other 2.
Okay.
Wow. I rolled incredibly. So
Right.
I'm an academic. So I have a strength bonus of 1, a dexterity bonus of 1, a con bonus of 1, an int bonus of 3, a wisdom bonus of 4, and a charisma bonus of 3.
Wow. Those are like amazing stats for Knave.
I don't know if people could see my eyebrows shoot up while I was rolling a couple of those. I was like, no way. I just like that they're all in the appropriate spots.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's just completely optimized.
That's how I like to live my life.
Yes, well, but I mean, that if we've got things optimized, we must have balance as well. So I'll be moving out with a strength of 1, a dex of 2, a constitution of 1, an int of 4, a wisdom of 2, and a charisma of 1.
These are not bad scores.
Everybody hates me, and I'm bad at my job.
Wouldn't int be what a magician needs?
That's probably going to be good. Actually, that's going to be really good for that particular role. But
I've got a good roll for a warrior here. I've got a strength of 5. But a dex of 2, con of 3, intelligence of 2, wisdom of 1, and charisma of 1. So he's kind of a meathead.
I would say that these are incredible ability scores.
Yeah.
Like as far as Knave characters that I have seen. So that's the first thing is the core mechanics of this game. These are your bonuses. If you need to make a check against something, you're going to be rolling with one of these bonuses. That applies to making something like an attack. You would roll a strength roll for a physical attack, or you roll a wisdom roll for a dexterity or for a ranged attack. If you are basically if you're making a saving throw against something bad that happens. Importantly, a saving throw is against something bad that happens that you cause to happen or that someone else causes to happen. So, for example, if you decide, you know what, there's a moat full of crocodiles, and I'm just going to jump from crocodile to crocodile to crocodile to get to the other side. Maybe you would make a dexterity saving throw every single crocodile, probably with disadvantage. And you don't want to make saving throws. It's pretty bad to make saving throws. I'll level with you. But you cause that to happen. That's not a jump check or something like that. That is full on a saving throw. And if you fail it, something bad happens. So yeah, that is one of the core mechanics of this game. We don't want to roll dice unless we really have to. And typically when we roll dice, it's because there's something that makes it really difficult to decide whether something would work, or there's some dangerous consequence. And usually it's the latter. And so usually you want to be careful about rolling dice. So the next thing that I need you to do is for each of those bonuses next to them, write a number that is 10 plus that bonus. And so that'll be like if you have a +2, then it's a 12. That is your defense for that score. And that is basically a passive defense. So if, for example, you wanted to fire a ray of magic at someone, and it seems like it would make more sense for them to dodge it than for it to be affected by armor, you would make a check against their dexterity defense to see if they dodged it. It's sort of like it is basically a passive saving throw in that regard.
Okay.
All right. So there's that. We're not going to worry about. We'll do equipment from the Rasp of Sand book. Pertinent information about equipment. You have a number of inventory slots equal to your Constitution defense. So if you have an 11 Constitution, you have 11 inventory slots. The items you get will take up one or more slots. When they are full, you cannot carry any more items. This is an abstraction of carrying capacity and encumbrance.
Okay.
Next very important step. Take 1d8 and roll it. I will be a merciful dungeon master and let you have advantage on this roll. Please roll 2d8 and take the highest number from those two.
Ooh.
I got a 4.
That's not bad.
Okay.
This is your hit points.
Ah.
Now, I want to make something pretty clear because I have played a number of old schoolish games of D&D where I have failed to have this talk, and it has not gone well. When you hit 0, you are disabled, unconscious, unable to fight, and have a chance of recovering. If you hit exactly 0, if you go to -1, you are dead.
Okay.
Straight up dead. No death saves. No recovering. No bouncing back to wounded. None of this stuff. You just die. So, a goblin with a javelin can do 4 points of damage pretty easily. It doesn't take much. So when you approach dangerous situations, please keep in mind that you are very, very mortal. And you have to take into account that there will be consequences for your actions. In a lot of D&D combat, you can, if the parties are evenly matched, you can get into a situation where one side wins because everyone on the other team is dead and one of your team is still standing. Doesn't really work as well in old school D&D because everyone who's not standing anymore is going to have to roll on your character. And in this particular adventure, you're going to be starting again. So yeah, keep your own mortality in mind as you make decisions about whether to engage in things like combat.
Sure.
My character sheet is my memento mori.
Okay, so after that, in Knave, there are a bunch of traits, but we're going to use the ones from Rasp of Sand. So let's move over to the Rasp of Sand book. And in there, on page 14, on page 14, you will see a bunch of charts. You can choose traits from these charts. You can roll on these charts to generate stuff about your particular heir. Please make a selection from each of those charts, however you decide that you're going to do it. And also, please choose a first name for your heir.
Moira.
Rancor.
Ha!
He's back, baby.
Gosh, Ian, where do you come up with these names?
I've got a list. It's not very long.
Again, this is a process that's pretty easy to go through quite quickly, on subsequent times, but I feel like we can just walk through it pretty slowly the first time so that everyone gets a good idea of how it works. And then hopefully, if you're put into a situation where we have to roll up a bunch of new characters, we can cut to commercial and everyone can roll a bunch of random dice and we'll come back and everyone will have new players.
Okay.
One of the things that I really like about the Knave system and about Maze Rats, which preceded it, and Rasp of Sand builds on this as well, is that it gives you a lot of hooks that you can use to create unique characters like bang, 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 bang. It knocks people out of their old habits and also is just kind of nice food for thought. And if you don't like the result that you get on one of these, just choose another one or roll it again or do whatever you want.
Ah! Come back.
Ooh. This is fun. This is good. This is good stuff. Okay, everyone's chosen a first name but me. Well, let's see, I know more about him now because he is a stout, elongated-faced, average-heighted, bald, formal speech-patterned, and decorated dress. So I'm going to call him Slab. Slab/foot.
Slab/foot.
Perfect. Oh, I'm very excited with how my character came out here. Crankor Bright Eyes is brawny with a hawkish face, filthy hair, eccentric clothing, and blunt speech. And he is tiny in height.
Yay, tiny wizard. Yeah.
All right. Moira Thinkwell is a flabby academic with a round face and long hair. She is average height, speaks with a booming voice, and wears elegant clothes.
All right. Yeah, the characters in Rasp of Sand are more your average town folk than in many Dungeons and Dragons adventures. They're just the people who got picked to go to the island and be pseudo-sacrifices. Not all of you are getting sacrificed, of course, but it's a good chance one of you is. And then you'll see on the next page there are a bunch of passions. Please roll a d20 to choose your passion. That affects leveling up, which you may or may not do over the course of this game, but is also helpful food for thought.
My passion is socializing. Perfect. That works with my charisma.
My passion does not work with my stats at all. My passion is magic.
That's why you're hanging out with Crankor and right, Slab?
Oh, absolutely. Got to get some of that osmosis magic just from hanging out and being around, you know?
Well, at least I get to do something I like, and that's traveling.
Ooh.
And you are getting to do that, traveling to that island on the horizon, that wonderful island in the sky.
Places I've never been before, and depending on how it turns out, may never return to.
That's what your family told your siblings you were doing, traveling to that little island in the sky. So equipment is next. You can see that that's on page 16. So for this one, you start with 2 rations. You get a torch, which is very helpful because you might want to see in the dark. That's something that Knave doesn't start you with by default, and it's problematic sometimes. The crown is sort of abstracted. One of you has it, but it doesn't take an inventory slot. And then you get to roll on a bunch of charts to find out what kind of weapons and armor and other such things that you have. So you can roll on the weapon chart and the armor chart. You don't need to worry about the other exotic weapons, exotic armor, special weapons charts for right now.
I have a question. The 2 rations and a torch, do those all take equipment slots?
They do. The rations, I'd say that you can have... Ooh, actually, that might be a cook special ability to have rations take up only 1 slot. Cook... Yeah, so I think that you're going to have 1 slot per ration.
Okay. 1 second. I'm doing something ridiculous because I have like a little dotted line book. So I'm like trying to make myself a little character sheet as I go. And I put down little I want to use some of these little squares. So I remember that everything takes a slot.
Mm.
All right.
So yeah, you have 1 weapon randomly generated, 1 armor randomly generated, and then you can see on the next page you have helmets and shields, which also contribute to your armor, and general gear, and you get to roll once on each of the gear tables. So general gear 1, general gear 2, dungeoneering gear.
My warrior character thing says that I start with scale armor. Does that mean I automatically take the iron scale mail?
Yes, you should automatically take the iron scale mail.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Oh, a spear takes up 2 slots.
Yeah, anything big. Iron scale mail takes up 3 slots, for example. One of the traits of Knave is that you define your character via what you carry. So if you are a wizardy character, you might be carrying a lot of spell pearls, and that allows you to cast a lot of different spells. But if you are a fightery character, then you are going to devote more of your inventory to weapons that deal more damage and armor that has more defense.
All right, armor.
Now, also, Kathleen, you will note that everything has a quality, and this is a place where making your little checkboxes could actually be really useful because your weapons and armor can degrade over time. That's the critical system. So if you get critted, then your armor degrades, and if you roll a natural 1 on an attack, then your weapon degrades. So there's always a chance that your sword could break in the middle of a dungeon, and you could be in a pinch until you find another one. So that's a place where marking off boxes can be helpful. The smith trade can repair gear.
Hey, marbles.
Hey, marbles, underrated. Very, very useful piece of equipment.
For helmets and shields, I rolled a hat. I have a hat.
Hat buddies.
Yay! I want to be like my wizard friend. It's my passion. So it's got a pointy hat. It's a pointy cloth hat.
I love it.
Perfect.
I also have a hat.
Oh, yay!
Hats for all. And then we get... Do we get all of the general gear?
You get, one thing from each chart. So you roll a d20 on each chart, and you can take one. You get whatever that is. Let me know if you get something like the random slug, and we can figure out what that is.
Oh, I get a net.
Tar pot. I suppose I should also mention I got the padlock from the dungeoneering gear.
Ooh.
Ah,
Nice.
So now I can deny people from entering a room and then also put a padlock on it.
perfect. What is a padlock without a door?
Ooh, and 5 spikes.
Ooh. I have a saw. I have some soap, and I have 2 more torches.
Hey, you can never have too many torches.
True. I'm gonna
I
have
think
one
about
clean
torches-
saw.
Hey,
The thing about
Jer.
torches is they have a tendency to go out randomly, so sometimes you want to have a spare. Yes.
Yeah.
So we start with 2 rations of the torch, and then we roll all these charts. So I ended up with a hat, a net, a spyglass, 5 spikes, a spear, and scale mail.
Mhm.
So if I add all of those like item slots together,
Mhm.
then that is 12, and I only have a
Aha.
carrying capacity of 11.
You might need to trade these around with some of your companions in order to be able to move.
Well, if you guys have any, I am very weak, so if you guys can carry a little bit more, please let me know.
Excellent. I'm pretty strong, but I can't remember how to calculate how many slots I have again. What's that?
It's the same as your Constitution defense.
Oh, okay. Then I have 13, which means that I could carry 8 more. I have 8 more slots, I suppose. I could grab some stuff if you need it.
Perfect.
8 more is a lot, given that your armor is 3.
Yeah. Oh, I may be confused about this. So 3, it's your con defense, or it's just your con.
It's your con defense. So your
Okay.
armor would be 3. Your weapon is probably 1 or 2.
Sure.
And then each of the other items is going to be an addition. Oh, your hat doesn't count though, Kathleen. That's.
Oh, my hat doesn't count?
Your hat doesn't count. It's just that's a cosmetic part of your outfit.
Okay. Never mind. I am not unencumbered.
All right.
But
Sure.
I can't pick up a single thing more.
But each of the other things that I have, it takes up 1 slot.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good. Well, then, yeah. No, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8. Yeah. Okay. And
So
yeah.
the last thing you're going to want to do is write down your armor defense. So you already have defenses for your strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Your armor defense is whatever is listed on your armor, unless you've got a shield or a helmet, and it does not sound like any of you do. So you're just going to have that as your armor defense. And not shockingly, this is similar to armor class. If someone wants to hit you, they're going to roll a die, they're going to add a modifier, and they're going to try and match that defense score.
So are we adding the 2 defenses together?
So if you have none, or if you have the none or a hat and it says defense 11, that's just your base defense. If you're not wearing any armor, you see that no armor also says defense 11. So if you've got, just go by your armor, and then if you have a helmet or a shield, they give you another +1 each.
Okay. Okay.
All right. And that, folks, is character creation. 50 minutes into the stream, we have characters. That took a little longer than I expected, but it's good to have a chance to walk through the process. And again, most of it's randomly generated, so should be able to do it quicker next time. Assuming that there is a next time. Not saying anyone's going to die, but it's always a possibility. So let's get you into the dungeon. So you have, as tradition dictates, sailed away from your island to the mountaintop opposite, now an island, where the Deep Lady's Temple is located. You've climbed up to the top of that mountain, and you have found a staircase that has gone down, 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 down into the depths of the earth. I actually have quite a bit of box text to read here, but basically after traveling down for quite a long way, you come into a large circular room. Now, this room is actually surprisingly well lit, given that it is under the ground, or largely under the water, actually. Somehow, light is diffusing down through the water that is now above you as you've gone down into the mountain. It illuminates the ground and walls and allows you to see relatively well in this area. It's actually lit, not quite daylight, but not the worst for seeing. You don't need a torch to see well in here. I wouldn't even call it dim light. Near the bottom of the stairs, there are sort of engravings and patterns in the floor that glow slightly. It's difficult to tell if they're just picking up glowing from above or if it is from the floor itself. And you can see that they actually form like little trenches and patterns all throughout the floor that water actually flows through. So there's a little bit of water underfoot. You're not normally like stepping into it, but it's kind of under your feet at all times. So sometimes those are large streams. Sometimes they're just like little tracks, fingers width in length, and they form all sorts of interesting patterns that sort of array out from the bottom of these stairs all over this room that you're in. There are three exits from this room beyond the stairs that you just came down. So if you came down through the north wall, there are exits on the south, east, and west walls. Something I'm going to note here is that exploration in this game is pretty heavily abstracted. I'm not going to worry about how much distance your torchlight can reach. For example, if you're in a dark room, your torch just illuminates the room. Most things we just track on a per room basis. And we have the concept of adventuring turns, which is an old school D&D thing. So when you move from room to room, that takes a turn. When you explore a room, that takes a turn. If you choose to take a rest in a room, which you could do to recover some of your abilities, then that takes a turn as well. Whenever you take a turn, there's a chance that something else that lives down here is going to wander into the area. So in taking time, you also risk the possibility of an encounter. If you choose to spend a rest, you can eat one of your rations and gain 1d8 plus your con bonus in hit points. Or you can choose to use one of your trade abilities that takes a rest, and some of them do. You can also use a turn to forage for rations if you run out of food. Or you can just search a room. If you search a room using a turn, you always succeed. But there's a chance that it succeeds in finding whatever it might hold, which is oftentimes going to be nothing, but you never know. But you do stand the chance of having an encounter. So this is sort of the way that the game barters your time for the possibility of danger.
Okay.
So, heirs, you have arrived at the bottom of the stairs. Welcome to the temple.
All right. Now, does one of us have to light a torch immediately?
No, it's actually well enough lit on this floor that you can see pretty well. There's the sound of the tide. You can hear water moving around. Obviously, it's moving through these little currents all over the floor. There's probably a lot of like dripping sounds. It's pretty generally wet in here. I'm going to say it's probably not humid though. It's more just sort of a damp wetness, which is actually kind of comfortable, almost soothing on the skin if you've been out in the sun and took a long boat ride over. And had a bit of an adventure on your way to certain death.
Mm.
Well-
Go ahead, Ian.
I think we should go down.
Yeah. Do the patterns on the floor look like anything, or are they just very random? Is there like some of them, does it form like stepping stones or like a trail or something like that?
I'm trying to think of the best analogy that I can come up with, and I'm almost thinking the patterns that you would see on a circuit board of like the patterns in the actual silicon of just channels going every which way. Sometimes they
Okay.
drain into holes in the walls. Sometimes they go down the other passages. They go up the walls, and the water falls down from the ceiling. They are all over the place, and the water eddies in every which way through them.
Okay. You said the doors. Are there multiple doors that we can go through?
There are
Three
yeah,
of them.
so there's, well, four technically if you include the stairs that you came down, but yes, one to the east, one to the west, and one to the south.
So unfortunately, I was going to suggest that we follow the direction the water seems to be going to. Because water likes to go downhill, but if it's going in every direction, that's not going to be helpful.
As far as you can tell, the floor in here is pretty flat, and the water does seem to be meandering every which way. There's not even a consistent pattern. It's not like one of those like water always goes towards the sea situations. The sea is kind of everywhere. It's kind of above you actually at this point. So yeah, the water is also going everywhere.
There's nothing to fight here. We should move on.
All right. So west, south, or east, was it?
I like going in straight lines, so let's go directly south.
Okay. So you head into the passageway. It is sort of a round passage that has a bit of a flat bit at the bottom that you can walk on without too much trouble. But you kind of are encouraged to go single file down this hallway, just by the very shape of it, which is very circular. As it opens up, you come to a room where you can see, even before you like come to the end of the hallway, there's sort of almost a curtain at the very top of something hanging down, like maybe about this much over the edge of the door. And as you get a little bit closer to it, you see that the room opens up into a fairly large and high ceiling for something that is underground / underwater, covered with plants. So there's plants hanging down from every which spot, but they seem surprisingly organized. There's actually rows of plants hanging from the ceiling in some pretty distinct lines, and there's light sort of shining through them from again above that is dappling down all over the ground. And then walking amongst the plant life seaweed stuff hanging from the ceiling are a few different creatures, three big creatures. These appear to be very large crabs. They have they're big crabs, and they have this big shell that is attached to the back of them that does not look like it's actually part of them. They're like hermit crabs. It doesn't look like they grew it themselves. And as they move, they kind of like drag the shell along. It looks like it takes a little bit of work for them to actually move it. And as you watch them, you see that they are one of them is I'm not saying that you take a long time to watch, but like one of them is reaching up to the seaweed stuff, and it's sort of like stroking it with its claw to do something with it.
It's like a garden or something.
Are these? Do they appear friendly, these crabs, or have we just not been noticed?
They so they're going to start to notice you as you come into the room. And they look up and they start peering at you and opening their little crabby eyes and blinking, sort of pulling in their little crabby antennae eyes and looking around at you. And they start maybe talking to each other. So like clicking and like doing I guess they probably do like a little dance back and forth with each other, and clack up and clack down. So they are having a conversation of some description.
Why don't we just pass on through? We don't need to bother them. They don't need to bother us. Just be like, don't mind us.
That's true. I am curious about what's growing on these on this nettle, not nettle, seaweed.
So
I will get you some, wizard friend. And I reach towards some of the plants and I pull some of the plant material up.
Okay, so one of the crabs is going to start moving towards you rather quickly, and it comes right up to you, and what it's trying to do is take your arm and push it away from the plant.
Okay. I will say, fair enough, and I will let my arm be pushed away and say, sorry, wizard friend. Small crab hermit man does not want me to get the plant. Sorry.
So it's now clicking at you in a pretty animated fashion. It's doing its little dance pretty quickly, some shimmies and shakes, and
I clap my hands back.
And then it's like the crab like looks at its friend, and the other crab, and one of the crabs in the back starts it rushes over to you, and it holds up its claw, and it looks like what it has on it is a slug. It is a slug that has yellow. It's yellow with black stripes on it, and it holds it up, sort of like near you, and is like,
oh, nice. I make a sort of thank you clapping, and I go to receive the slug.
Okay, it pulls the slug away.
Oh, okay.
And it is like. And it's making gestures at something.
Okay. Smart lady, academic lady, crab has slug. What slug crab?
Can I quickly look around and see if there appear to be other slugs on these plants? If like this is a slug garden or something like that.
Sure. I'm gonna say, well, if you're like looking pretty carefully. Sure, you can spot a couple other slugs on these plants.
I think this is where they grow their slugs. So, sorry. And I'm just going to be like, thank you, bye-bye, and hope that scans across, crab and human relations and just sort of like, start pushing the other PCs to what, is there a door in this room?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There are 2 other exits.
Oh, excellent.
Pardon me, 3 other exits, again, to the south, east, and west. As you, yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to the south again. Let's just keep going through the room. Goodbye. Sorry.
I don't speak Realtek AC, but I definitely wanted whatever was on that seaweed on the way back.
I'm very sorry, wizard friend. I failed you. I hope this doesn't affect our friendship.
Not at all.
Oh, good. I clap apologetically to the crabs.
The crab definitely wanted to talk to you, and it sort of like gives you a bit of a like shruggy shoulder, like. And as you begin walking out of the room, you realize that there's someone else coming into the room via the passage that you were just about to leave. So there are 2 other creatures. Now these look like kind of like squat, like bulbous, big-eyed fish creatures. and there are 3 of them. 2 of them are walking, and then one of them is unconscious. And the 2 walking ones are dragging the unconscious one between them. And as you move into the door to get out of the room, you run into them, or not run into them, like not literally bump into them, but they're coming out of the door at the same time. You meet up, and one of the ones that's dragging the unconscious one looks at you and goes,
Slab says, "Why did I take the French elective in high school? Why not sea creatures?"
Is there anything? So, I assume they look concerned, right?
Yeah.
About their friend.
Yeah, I would say that they look pretty grumpy at this point. They are carrying spears.
Oh
I
dear.
think they're carrying spears. And they both have spears. I guess one of them has 2 spears because he's carrying the spear of the unconscious one. And they're starting to move towards you, and going like.
Oh, do they want us to get out of the way? Sure. I guess we'll just let them pass.
Yeah,
Okay.
Slab steps out of the way.
Don't mind us. Don't mind us. Do they pass us by?
So they're going to walk into the room, and they're going to start engaging in an animated discussion with the crab things. They're pointing to their friend, and they're like pointing to the crab thing, and the crab is like click 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 click, hiss, hiss, pointing to the unconscious one, and holding up the slug, and so this is getting pretty animated. The one of the fish things is like kind of looking like it's getting ready with its spear. They're getting pretty angry.
Oh man, let's defend the crabs, and then they'll give us slugs.
Ooh, good idea.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. I was about to do something stupid. I'm going to put my spear directly between the fish people and the crab people in sort of a as much of a pacifistic sort of give peace a chance sort of way as I can.
I'm gonna point my weapon in the direction of these people in as peaceful a manner as I possibly can. That's what
Yeah, I have an intelligence of 2, but like a well-meaning sort of. Not in a sort of sort of way, but in a kind of lowering it down, like one of those barricades, those traffic barricades, kind of, hey, buddy, sort of.
Makes him like, whoa,
yeah,
kind of.
Whoa, oh, let's slow down there, friend. Hey, well, how you doing?
Okay, so now the fish are gonna like turn to you, and they're gonna be like, points to the crowd, points to his friend,
and I say, I hear you, but I don't understand you. I'm sorry. Well, help, friends.
I mean,
we certainly stumbled into a pickle here. I could make sure that we could make this a safe place for crabs, at least from the fish people. But I don't know. Maybe they're here to rejuvenate him.
Yeah. Does anybody have any medicine or like Healy type stuff?
Well,
Probably not.
I have rations that they would heal me. I don't know if they would heal fish people.
Could you try?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try.
Mm-hmm.
Can I try to give this downed fish man some of my ration?
So you're gonna like go over to the I don't know that they're gonna want to let you get near to the unconscious one. One of the ones that's holding him is gonna sort of bear his spear in your direction as you look like you're getting close to him.
I'm gonna be like,
Okay, so they are quite interested in what it is you're holding. Can you describe to me what kind of like above water ration that you brought in from outside the dungeon?
Yes, this is an egg and cress sandwich.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well the fish is incredibly interested in whatever it is that you've got. It's like looking at it. Even the crabs are kind of like, and the fish is like.
And I gotta take the point to the ration. I gotta point to the guy on the ground and be like, eh? So that went to the guy on the ground or to the one who?
No.
Oh, okay.
The one who's talking to you just ate half of your ration and
Yeah.
it's looking quite pleased with it.
Great. And I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna point to the other half, and I'm gonna point to the guy on the ground, and be like, can I try to give it to the one on the ground?
He's not gonna let you. He's gonna hold his hand his fishy pods up and try and stop you from doing that. But he does seem to want it. And he's like pointing to your bag, and he's like, and then he points to him and his friend, and points to the door.
So if I give him my bag, then he'll let us go out the door?
And then he points to his friends and he points to the door.
I'm not giving him my bag, but I'll give him the other half of my sandwich.
Okay, he takes that and he's like,
Here.
Well, hold on. We don't want to give away all our food.
I will. I'll hand over one of my sandwiches as well.
You've got a sandwich too? Okay. Well, he's
What kind is it?
It's hardtack between two
hardtack,
slices of
a
bread.
hardtack sandwich.
Yeah.
2 pieces of hardtack with a piece of jerky in the middle.
I mean, we really just use lard to make sure that it doesn't slip out the middle, but that's better.
Okay, so they are satisfied with this. They sort of like wag their spears at the crab a little bit more and points to you. And then they wander off. They're actually not going to take the south door. They're gonna wander out the west door.
Okay.
The crab looks at you and he holds up the slug again. It was it Slab? You were the one who was looking at the slug before. He holds it up to you, or the crab holds it up to you.
I very gingerly try to hold it, try to get it from them.
All right, the slug will give you the crab will give you the slug this time.
Okay, then I bow as obsequiously as I can and do some click clickety clickety and hope I haven't said something horrible. And I pass it over to the Thinkwell academic, and I say, "Look, present from Crabman. Look, what is?"
I mean, I could rest in here to look at the slug. I suppose this is a relatively safe place to take a rest.
I mean, there's 3 crabs here. They seem to be pretty chill.
Yeah. All right.
Present.
All right. I will spend a long time looking at this slug and be like, I bring out like 101 slugs for kids, and that doesn't work. And then I bring out 1001 slugs to share with your neighbors. It's like, oh, it's got to be in here somewhere.
Does anyone else have anything that they want to do during this rest?
Can I get a better look if the crabs are still scraping stuff off of the seaweed? I'd just like to get a better look at that. Not try to interfere, but just in such a way that I'm very clearly just looking.
Yeah, sure. You can hang out. You can hang out with the crabs. They're not gonna. They're not gonna think too much of you hanging out in here, providing you're staying out of the way. And it's yeah. It is obvious that they are sort of using their claws to snip and prune the seaweed in a very specific manner. And they're sort of like observing the slugs, but they're generally not interfering with the slugs too much.
Okay.
One of them might like pick up a slug and move it over to another piece of seaweed where there is another slug to try and encourage some slug behavior. But in general, they're just kind of chilling.
They're not harvesting the seaweed. They're not harvesting anything from the seaweed. They're putting slugs on it and pruning it. Okay, got it.
Thanks. I shall sharpen my spearhead with a rock and try to observe the crabs and their ways and appreciate their culture.
As you're doing this, another fish person wanders into the room. This time from the west, where the other two went. It might be one of the same fish people. You're not entirely sure, but it definitely seems to have a more chilled out demeanor than the last ones did. And it walks up to the crabs, and it goes the crabs hissing and clicking and making all sorts of crabby noises and dances, and a multilingual conversation takes place, but you're not sure actually if either side understands what the other is saying. But the fish person pulls a little bag out, and it's got something. It looks like it has something that is maybe the consistency of sand, and hands it over to the crab. And the crab takes 2 slugs and hands them over to the fish person. Fish person takes the slugs gingerly on its body and then goes back the way that it came.
So if we come back here with sand, we can buy more slugs.
Yeah. Slug market.
All right. So that takes you to the end of your rest, and you can identify the crab or the slug. This is a slug of frenzy. So ingesting the slug has the effect of that spell, which I'm actually just going to jump to the table of contents here so that I can get to it. So basically, anything that eats it will erupt into a frenzy of violence. Now, as an academic, this kind of effect is not a rational kind of effect. So this is like irrational anger, delusions, hallucinations, maybe, a lot of very, very uncomfortable and unfortunate behavior. So, this is not necessarily a slug that you would want to eat yourself. Though if you did eat it, and then if you did eat it and you were like involved in a bar brawl or something like that, you might win.
Helpful.
I'm going to hand this to Slab and say, I'd sort of be like, look, if you want to become a berserker, this will be great. But otherwise, maybe we should feed this to somebody else.
Oh, good idea. Very good idea. And I put the slug in a. What's a good way to carry a slug? Bjorn. I put it in a little sort of. I make it because I am decoratedly dressed. So I assume that I've brought his medals with him, and he sort of puts it tucked into a sort of metal slug, Bjorn, on his chest, and he feels very proud to be decorated with this. And he thanks Thinkwell. Thank you very much, Academic Thinkwell. I appreciate it. Good. And now my spear is sharper. Probably not in terms of stats, but it looks sharper, and I feel good about that.
Have to make a good impression when you're bringing people down.
All right. Well, that fish person came from the west, it looks like. Shall we follow after them, or shall we go elsewhere?
I like the advice of continuing south, but if you're really interested in fish, I'm also game for that.
Wherever, man. I have no
Right.
preference. So are we going west?
We're going west now.
Sure, let's follow the fish people.
Maybe there'll be a
All right,
fish
so
town.
So you follow the direction that that last fish person went, and if you as you kind of go down the hall, you're getting the sense of maybe a shaking, a trembling, a quivering, kind of a low level thing, like a truck going by on the highway, pretty loud. And as you come into the room, as you come out of the passage, the room that you're coming into is it's got like a 10-foot ceiling, so it's very short, very close to your head, and its floor is covered with fine sand and seagrass that grows up to about the level of your hips. So quite quite claustrophobic, not difficult to actually be able to see. And the first thing that you notice as you come into the room is a big mouth comes through the door on the through a door on the opposite end of the room, and like goes and opens like incredibly wide, taking up most of that side of the room in its width, before it starts to sort of like shimmy into the room. It's moving quite quickly. What do you want to do?
Leave.
Yes, we could retreat. I can do that without a morale save. We can retreat.
Okay.
Whoa!
So you
Run away!
head back in.
Run away!
You head back into the room with the crabs, and the crabs seem to be they're picking up on the shivering. You hear this creature though coming through behind you, and it does seem to be going through the door that you just, or through the passage that you just exited. What do you want to do?
Dive out of the way.
Like to gesture at these crabs with.
Okay, the crabs do seem to be aware of what's going on. They're starting to move, but so you're saying, Kathleen, that Moira's gonna dive out of the way. Can you describe like how is she diving? Is she hitting the dirt? Is she like running to a certain part of the room? Is she running across the room?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like come out of the door, and I'm going to like and sort of like nervously skid around, and then like, you know, like do the thing where you like just go to the next nearest wall with this thing is chasing after you, right? You try to just go to the side so it doesn't see you and be like, ah.
Okay, so you're coming out the door, and you're like sidling against the wall and going as the thing is coming through. Is that everyone else doing kind of the same thing?
Oh yes.
Okay, so this is more or less going to work. You can sort of a giant sea snake like creature burst through the door. The crabs are more or less absent. Once you kind of get your bearings on the room, you can see that they have retreated to the corners and gone inside their shells. So there's just like a couple of shells kind of hanging out in the corners as this big snake-like thing tears through the room, conveniently between the rows of seaweed. Like it's almost like the crabs knew that this was coming, because the seaweed curtains were positioned perfectly for this giant sea snake like creature to move right through, across the room and out the other side.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, that was something.
There's more rumbling and whatnot, and after like a minute or so, the crabs start to come out of their shells, and they kind of look around. They like looking at you like, what are you doing?
We're just gonna go the way we came.
Shall we try another door?
No, let's just go back that way. What are the chances another sea snake's going to go through?
It seems like a very regular happening. If they've groomed the plants to be, you know, in that exact position so it can come through, or maybe not.
That
we
was
know
the
it's-
315.
All right, so heading back to the west.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you're coming back into this room, and it is, as I described before, pretty short, and then it's got the sort of seagrass up to your waist. There's an exit on the other side of the room that the big sea snaky thing came through, and then there's another one to the south.
Let's take the south door.
Sure.
Sure, sounds good to me.
Okay. So as you move into the room, you hear a bit of a commotion coming from the south hallway, and into the room burst 8 small creatures. They're sort of a cross between a blue monkey and a slug, and they are, yeah. They're crawling along the walls and ceiling, and kind of like spreading out away from the door. There are like 8 of them, and they are, as I say, like sort of like spreading out from the door, in almost a viscous manner, if you can imagine a creature moving in a viscous way while climbing in a not strictly gravitational way away from an opening. And they're just starting to spread around the room, and they're moving really quite quickly. And they see you as they come through the door.
Are they like scared chittering, or are they just like
Are
hanging
they
out?
coming right at us, or are they doing their own?
So scared chittering. They're not really chittering. They're not really making a lot of. I guess maybe they are. Maybe like they get to the middle of the room, and then like 2 of them are like, when do these things speak? And then they look like it's like, make a decision. And as they're having this argument, another creature bursts through the southern door. And this one is it is a big, slippery, snaky, eely thing. It's about 10 feet long, and it's got this big, like, lamprey jaw. And it is slippering along the ceiling / wall after one of these after these creatures. And it's here that the creatures seem to be. I'll just say that it grabs one of them. It grabs one of them and hooks its jaws onto it and starts to munch and wrap itself around it. And the other ones look really scared.
I'm going to attack the eel.
All right.
I don't like bullies.
Looks like they're trying to decide between like staying and going. You know, they're the simian sluggy things are looking like they're almost at the point of breaking their morale, but not quite yet. And they're trying to decide whether they're gonna hang out. Let's go into initiative. So to do this,
there's a lot more politics down here than I thought there'd be.
yeah, politics and languages you do not understand. So to roll initiative, it's a pretty simple matter. Your party gets to roll 1 die. You roll 1 6-sided die. And I believe, I just need to check, I always forget this. I'm going to just make up the rule. You want to roll high. Do you want to roll a 4, 5, or a 6? If you roll a 1, 2, or a 3, the bad guys get to go first. If you roll a 4, 5, or a 6, the good guys get to go first. The good guys being, in this case, your party, because I suppose that there are actually 3 sort of factions at work here.
Sure. Because I attacked him. Should I roll?
Right.
Please
Go for it, Eddie.
Or did you already roll?
I did.
Okay.
He said roll a dice, and I was like, I can do that. And I rolled a 5, so that's a good number, and I want to keep it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
All right, so your party gets to act first. All 3 of you get to act in whatever order you want to. There's no rules as to who can do what first, or if like someone can take half an action, and then someone else can take half an action. The first person can take another half of an action. In general, you can take one action on your turn, and you can move around like 40 feet on a turn, but it's not super strictly governed, the order that you have to take those, or how you have to take them intermixed with each other.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I would like to. As I said, I see that happen. I said no, and I take my spear and I try to jab it at the eel's eye as best I can. And should I roll for that?
Yeah, please do. So please
Okay.
roll me a strength attack on
Okay.
this eel.
Here we go.
And that's how what do I roll? Is that
So
one?
yeah, sorry, roll me a strength, or roll me a d20 and add your strength modifier to that.
Okay. Oh, did not do well. Rolled a 3, but I have a strength of 5, so 8.
8. 8 is not going to do it. So you notice that this thing has a sorry, what are you talking about again? It's a spear. That you're trying to stab into its eye.
Yeah.
The eye's a small target, so you're trying to get it like very precisely in there, and it just sort of like whiffs right past its head. It doesn't it doesn't stab into the sluggy simian that it is chomping on. So that's I guess helpful. Anyone else, or do you want to do anything else?
Ian, cast a spell.
I'd like to remain uninvolved in this particular altercation, but I could cast a spell to make sure that the crabs don't get in.
Well, no, not crabs.
Or I could try stabbing it in the eye.
Stab.
All right, so because I wasn't paying attention because I'm not a fighter, I need to make a roll.
Yep. So you're going to need to make a d20 roll, and if you're stabbing, you're going to add your strength modifier to that.
Great. Sweet. That's 3.
Okay. So again, and sorry, what were you attacking with?
A dagger.
A dagger. Oh, very effective. So your dagger is going to sort of like scrape along it, and you realize that it's covered in sort of this like sticky, mucusy stuff. And so your dagger kind of gets caught up in it and pull it away.
I hope they both lose. Moira, your turn now.
All right, I'm gonna take my huge spear and I'm gonna try to go, like right into where its heart should be, I guess, like right center of the chest.
The chest of the eel snake.
Sort of like if I can see how big his head is, give it about half again for his neck, and then half again, like one head height below. I assume the heart somewhere around there, but right in the center there. But I actually rolled a 20, so I think I'm gonna hit it.
That'll
do it.
Definitely gonna hit it. So there are a couple of ramifications of rolling a 20. One of them is that you get to make a stunt. Now, a stunt is an open-ended term in this game, and it's basically like anything that you can imagine, like pushing something, tripping something, any number of other things that would allow you to gain an advantage in combat potentially. There's not a lot of environment to play around with in this particular room, so that's unfortunate. But if you were to like try and shove something into a sharp piece of rock or something like that, that's also something that you could use a stunt for.
Sure.
So is there any kind of stunting that you would like to do? And if so, please describe it to me.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to try to stab it right in the chest, and I'm going to try and shove it back so hard that it coughs up the thing it's chewing on.
Oh, okay. Nice. Do the old maybe the old Lara Croft shark punch.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Okay, so I'm going to need you to make probably a strength check to try and do that.
Sure.
And that is going to be against its strength defense, which I know, but you do not. So.
All right. Okay. Geez, I'm rolling well tonight. I got 8. Do I add my save on that? I do.
You just add your strength bonus.
All right, so I got an 18.
Okay, well that's going to be enough to punch this thing in the lamprey jaw so hard that it like disconnects from the slug that it is so happily devouring, and sort of like coughs back. And can you roll me your weapon damage for that attack, please?
All right, so a spear is 1d8 damage. And yeah, 6.
Hey, 6 is pretty good for a 1d8.
I'm well above the curve.
Moira,
Yeah,
you got
you can-
on under I want to say a sports scholarship, right?
I just can't stand injustice.
Oh, I look forward to finding out what this is actually all about then.
Yeah, leave that disgusting blue thing alone. Whap!
Determine justice later.
All right, so I think that this show of valor is going to encourage the monkey slugs to turn at the big snaky eel thing, and they are going to scream at it. They're going to make this like almost like a howler monkey simian thing, and you can see that they have like little teeth in there, and then they are going to sort of start shooting poison darts out of their bodies. So they've got like these barbs that when they sort of shake their little pseudopody monkey arm things, start flying out at the snaky thing. You have emboldened them.
Yeah.
Nature is beautiful.
Nature is revolting. Ugh. Oh, I'm glad that we didn't fight them, though. I'm glad we're not stuck full of poison darts. Ugh.
Okay, so I have 2 hits on the thing, and that's going to do a little bit more damage. And then I'm gonna go with the eel. Basically, the about half of the slug monkeys have managed to act so far, but now the eel snake is recoiling, and it's it's honestly a little bit shaken, but it is going to turn to the 3 of you who are right up next to it, and it is going to want to take a bite of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's going to go at Crankor.
Hey!
Crankor, yeah. So see, you would think that it would go after Moira, but I'm not entirely certain that it is aware enough to see. Like it was like very focused on munching this monkey, and then it got whacked on the head, and so it turns around, and obviously it's going to go after the smallest thing that it can see that it thought might have whacked it.
I am the most monkey-like.
It is going to lash out at you with its terrifying mouth.
Jared, very little that we've encountered tonight has been non-terrifying.
Fair. So I definitely hit you. I have a 21 to hit.
Yep.
How many hit points do you have?
Probably not enough, but let's say 4.
Okay, so it's going to deal 5 points of biting damage. And so, yeah, Crankor, I'm afraid you are going to be dead. You're going to die to this horrible eel bite. It's going to wrap its body. It's having been sort of unattached from the monkey. It's going to wrap its body around you, and begin to consume your body as the remainder of its action. The monkey slugs are not quite sure what to do at this point, because the remaining monkey slugs are not quite sure what to do at this point, because it seems to have found something to eat that is not one of their people, and the one that you freed is looking like it might be able to move again a little bit. I think that they're going to take another few attacks on it, just for
just for vengeance.
Just for a little bit of extra action. I only have one more hit on it.
Slab, eat your
And-
slug. Avenge Crankor.
So now we're going to go to initiative again. So unlike other Dungeons and Dragons systems, this one initiative is rolled every round, and you can win or lose every round. So you won the last round. If you lose this round, then it's going to take another action, or all of the other creatures are going to take another action before you get to go again.
Okay.
So who would you like to nominate to roll your initiative die?
Andy, you should roll it this time.
Sounds good. I got a 5.
Awesome. So it's your go. What would you like to do?
Oh, did you just let out that big eel thing only has 1 hit point left, or did you say that
I did
the
not. I didn't. No, I said that the monkey's got 1 hit in on it.
Okay.
They've been flinging these spear barbs. Some of them have stuck in, and they seem to have caused like some wounds on the creature. And it doesn't seem to be appreciating that very much. But it is still like not looking super phased.
Okay. Well then, Slab is a little taken aback because he whiffed on his first spear stab, and he's a professional warrior. And then this academic comes in, rolls a natural 20, and from hell's heart I stab at thee. So he's feeling a little demoralized. And also his friend Crankor is dead, so of course he's going to eat the frenzy slug.
Okay, just so that you're aware though, like Crankor being dead means that like you've accomplished your mission. Like you've made the sacrifice. You are able to just leave now if you want to, but you don't have to. But you are able to. You can eat the frenzy slug though. Don't let me stop you from doing the fun thing.
Oh, that's a fun thing. No, I'm going to eat the frenzy slug. I'm gonna eat the frenzy slug and try to do bad things to the eel with that.
Okay, so you're gonna get a saving throw to resist the effects of the frenzy slug.
Okay.
I am gonna say that for the first round, you can choose to fail voluntarily. But after that, if you do choose to fail, then you're gonna have to save to end the effect if you should want to do that.
Okay.
So you chomp on the frenzy slug. Go ahead and you're overcome, assuming that you fail the saving throw. You are overcome with rage, and you of course lash out to the biggest, baddest target right near you, which is Crankor's body. No, it is a giant eel. Go ahead and make an attack with advantage.
Okay, and that's a D20.
That is 2 d20s, and you can add your strength bonus to that.
2 D20s, and I get.
And then if it's advantage, you pick the higher one.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we'll do. First one is a 2. Not picking that one. Second one.
You can roll a 1.
Second one is a 12. So I'll take the 12 and add my strength, which is 5. So 17.
17.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is enough to hit the eel. Roll me some damage.
Cool. And that is what do I roll with damage? Is that also a 20?
It is associated with your weapon. So,
with my weapon. Okay. That is then I have a spear, and the spear's damage is 1d8 piercing.
Yep.
Let's see. Where's my so many dice? I rolled a 7. 7. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
So you stick your spear very strongly into this eel. It sticks right through one side, punches out the other side, and then you get a little bit of extra as it comes back through and tears away the entire top part of the eel. So it's got like a nice little chunk taken out of it. This eel has taken not a lot of hits, but it's taken a couple of really bad ones so far this combat. Moira, what would you like to do?
I'm going to try to hit it, I guess. I don't really think I can do anything else. So
Slab has eaten the slug, so he's pretty indisposed.
Well, I'm gonna try to hit it, and I rolled a 2, so I miss. Ah!
Okay. Do you want to do anything else?
What else can I even do in combat?
It's not combat is not so much a matter of what you can do on your character sheet. It's more about what you can think of regarding the environment or the things that you have on you that might allow you other options. Right now, you're in a room that doesn't have like a lot of stuff in it. And so unless you can think of other things that you might want to do with your equipment or other actions you might want to take, yeah, maybe there's not a lot else you want to do. Maybe you want to move away. But yeah, I would not think in the sort of scope of special abilities on your character sheet, because you're usually not going to have those. But the way that you can advantage yourself in combat is by being prepared for combat and or not engaging in combat. Those are good ways to win at combat.
Right. The only winning move is not to play. I'm going to take out my net.
Oh, okay.
And just get ready. I don't think I can throw it on the stupid thing at the same turn because I've already attacked, but I can like take my net out and ready it, I guess.
Okay. So I'm going to say that one of the monkey slugs is going to shoot some more barbs at it from far away. They've sort of like grouped into a huddle on one side of the room at this point, and this one is going to fling a thing at it and not succeed at hitting it. And then it's going to dash. It's going to leave. It's going to go outside the out the west door, not the one opposite the one that you came in. And the remainder of and then the eel snake thing is also going to try and leave, but it's taking Krenkor with it. And so this is a little bit awkward for the eel thing, because it's like trying to carry off its prey, and it's not like it can wrap around it and pretty effectively like eat it when nothing's like but carrying it off is like a little bit harder, but it's definitely trying to do that. But this is awkward enough that I'll say that if Slab and Moira want to take, if Moira, if you want to do anything with the net, or if Slab, I think Slab, you're just going to hit it actually, because you're frenzied. So
Yeah.
go ahead and try and smack it again.
I will. I said, that's my friend. His kids need his sand body to be strong. And I'm going to roll damage. Oh, I rolled a 17.
17 is a hit.
Okay, and with plus strength. So I rolled a 17 plus. Do I plus 5 to 22?
Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
All right, and then I roll damage with my spear. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, let's see what we got. I rolled the wrong dice. I'll roll the right one. This is 1d8. Here we go. 5.
Ouch. You have planted, for first level characters, like an amazing amount of damage on this creature.
Yeah.
So you again like punch another hole in it, and it like screams, and it's done. It's not gonna go. It's not gonna deal with this. This is not worth the meal that it's after. So it's gonna go back through the door that it came through to the south, and it's gonna leave Krenkor behind it. And the monkey slugs are going to celebrate at this. They are going to, and they're going to like act like they were the ones that scared it off. They're going to make all sorts of menacing motions at it and whatnot. So, and then they're going to look at you.
I avenged your blue monkey slug friend.
Actually, sorry. I'm gonna need Slab. I'm gonna need another saving throw from you, a Constitution saving throw. So the way that saving throws work is you're gonna roll your d20. You're gonna add your Constitution bonus, and your target number is always 15. Remember, I said that making saving throws was pretty scary. This is a pretty scary kind of roll to make. So go ahead and make that roll.
Oh no! I rolled a 1, and my con is +3.
All right. So instead, Slab, instead of saying that, I'm going to say that you say, "Die, foul minions of the deep," and run into the middle of the monkey slugs.
No.
And Moira, they are just going to set on him. They're going to pile in on him, and there's going to be a big cartoon cloud as they start like tearing bits off and laying into him with those monkey slug teeth. I feel like this is a combat you could not possibly win. Moira, what are you going to do?
I'm Has Crankor turned into a pile of sand?
Crankor has turned into a pile of sand.
I'm going to scoop up some of his sand and I'm going to get the heck out of here, I guess.
All right. That seems good. All right. That takes us to the end of our first run. So that seems like a pretty good time for us to take a commercial break and make some new characters and start another run after we get back. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to explain the process for creating new characters. So we're going to take the same families. We're going to roll up new heirs using those same families. All these next heirs, so for this second set of heirs, you can choose to change your profession, or you can stick with the one that you have. If you change, you just start at level 1 in the new one. But if you choose to stick with your trade, then you advance a level of your trade. So you're going to get a new ability for that trade, and that is a way that your character will improve. None of you had any experience points, so you don't get to pass any of those down to your next generation, nor do you get to pass down any mutations. So that is basically all that's going to happen as we go along. But your new characters should be slightly more powerful because they'll have a few more things that they can do. So yeah, let's go to commercial maybe and roll up some new characters, and we will reconvene in a couple minutes.
We'll be right back.
And welcome back. We are here again with a whole new batch of characters because just to quickly storytell what happened last time that you or at the end of the last run. So it became obvious pretty quickly after Slab got eaten by monkeys as well that the dungeon was beginning to fill with water. So water was the water that sort of permeated the entire thing was just very slowly beginning to actually come up to ankle level and knee level and whatnot. And so it was actually going to be time for Moira to beat a hasty retreat, regardless of the situation. So the temple fills up with water. And it remains filled up with water for another 25 years until it is time for a new group of young people to make the trip to the island to deliver the crown, not the sacrifice, the crown. And you, for those of you whose bodies were recovered, whose gear was able to make it out of the temple, you get to add all of your items to your family store. And what your family store does is you can take one item from your family store and use it for your new character. For those of you who did not make it out in quite the same fashion, you just get to choose one item that washes up on the shore or gets caught by a fisher person or otherwise makes it back to you at some point after you met your doom beneath the waves. Regardless, we have a new batch of characters from a new generation, all ready to show that they can do what their parents or aunts and uncles or whatnot didn't. So let's meet this new batch of miscreants, characters, sacrifices, one of those things. I'm going to start with Andy.
Okay, I am Shank, son of Slab. I am Shank Slashfoot. I have a strength of 1, a dex of much less stronger than his father, but is now a rank 2 warrior. And I didn't have time to roll new things he looks like. So let's say he looks a lot like his father, like almost exactly like his father. The resemblance is uncanny.
Shank, actually, Andy, there was one thing that I forgot in asking you to regenerate your characters. And so I will say that you can re-roll your strength because with the strength that you had, you actually get to take your middle die for your strength score instead of your lowest die.
Oh.
Oh, is that where does that happen?
I'm just going to find, I'm just looking up what the tier was for that. I totally forgot about that, but So for 11 to 14, you take your lowest die. But if it's 15 to 18, which I
Okay.
think you were the only one who qualified for that, then you take your median die. So go ahead and re-roll your strength and take the middle die instead of the lowest.
Okay, we'll do. I have 2 3s and a 5, so 3.
3. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
better than 1.
that's way better than 1. I'm much happier with that.
Passed down through the generations.
Yeah. The /foot strength. It's legendary.
All right. So we have Shank.
The next heir of my particular of the Brightside family is Crankor Brightside. Currently with a defense or a strength of 2, a dexterity of 1, constitution of 3, intelligence of 3, wisdom of 2, and charisma of 2. This family keeps getting better. I am a hulking man with a bony face, filthy hair, and a towering height.
Wow.
But it's simple, and my speech is formal.
So Crankor presumably would have gotten to have one of the items from the previous Crankor for this character. My suggestion would have been to take the pearl, but you of course can choose whatever you like, and of course as you're rolling a new character, you will get another pearl.
My character decided to take the pearl from our family, as spells are very important to a spellcasting family. Luckily, we were able to re-roll our seal leather armor anyway, so we have our spell of warding, but also now we have a spell of illuminate.
Ah.
Excellent. Moira's son Horatio Thinkwell sort of, is a little bit better balanced. A strength of 3, a dex of 1, a con of 2, an int of 2, a wisdom of 3, and a charisma of 2. So, just a more even spread. He's ripped, but has a delicate face. His hair is wavy, and he is extremely short. He's like 5'2", but he looks like a triangle with legs. Despite that, he mumbles, but it dresses really well, and he has no passion. He is lazy.
Wonderful. So if I could get you to each also have a look at your trades, you'll see that you have a new ability as you have leveled up. What ability do these new characters have? Horatio, what ability have you gained from this in this new generation after having another 25 years for your family to ponder the academe?
My mother basically described a lot of them guessing as what the hell was going on. So I am now a linguist. I can spend my rest studying a language I've recently encountered, and after that rest, I can understand the language. And after 2 rests, I can speak it.
Oh my gosh! And Rancor, what?
Well, after using this scroll, I may make an int save to attempt to gain it for another use, because I am now an arcanist.
Bye, Dada.
Bye, sweetie. Apologies.
It's all right.
It's okay.
COVID times. All right. Sorry. You are an arcanist.
Yes, arcanist.
And I am Shank is a defender. When you attack, you may make a contested charisma save versus the defender. If you succeed, they get negative on attacks that don't target you. Not sure I understand that, but
okay. So the notation there, the negative inside square brackets, is disadvantage.
So, okay.
Basically, you can do the good old taunt. You can whack them and then make a charisma check, and if you pass your charisma check, then they have to attack you or suffer disadvantage.
Okay. Nice.
All right. So this is our new merry cast of heroes. Does everyone have all the items and everything that they need? Yes, Kathleen.
One question. So as a level 2 person, do I just have the linguist skill, or do I also still have the level 1 skill?
You still have the level 1 skill. You have both
Just
skills.
checking.
Things get better.
Yeah. As technology improves, your civilization level advances, and you get to continue learning these new things.
No regrets.
All right. So this new group of sacrifices is going to make their way over to the temple. And the situation is very much the same. You go down the set of stairs and down into this iridescent, luminescent dungeon area. And again, you find yourselves in this room with 3 different exits to the south, the east, and the west.
Yeah, it's just as Mother described it.
The vast map that we've been gifted with from our ancestors gives us so many choices. I think we should go south again.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't. I mean, your 2 ancestors didn't die, and mine didn't turn home and run back just so we could go down some new pathways.
Sounds good to me. Shank approves.
Okay. So, as you may have ascertained from your from whatever maps or information was left to you by your ancestors, to the south of the that's a really nice character sheet, Kathleen. To the south of the entryway is, of course, the large room with a ship embedded in its ceiling and floor. It's partially capsized and hanging kind of perpetually askew and aloft, just stuck between these two parts, as if it was like suspended between its bow and its, or like suspended by its bow and its stern, or teleported here, or crashed here and had the temple built around it. That is what it is.
This is not what Mother mentioned.
No. Further south.
Okay. You're going to continue going south?
I mean, do you guys want to investigate this awesome ship?
I'm all in for awesome ship looking at.
I do enjoy a good ship, but I would like to get this crown at some point to the throne room.
That's
true.
fair. All right.
Okay.
The votes are for continuing south?
Sure.
A compelling argument was made, apparently.
Okay. So to the south, so there's this room that you enter. It is roughly round. It looks like it's made out of some sort of kind of stone, like maybe I guess it's made of stone like the rest of everything, with the little channels of water moving through it. But it's difficult to actually see that because it has sacks of organic material piled up every which way, where all over the room. They are like these little round orbs that are mostly transparent, but they have an opaque part in the center, and then they're like covered in slime, and they are stuck all over the floor and the walls and the ceiling. Now, sort of amongst this area, some like mud and refuse has been like scraped together and turned into sort of nests, or like almost little craters. So they kind of build up, and then they've got an indentation in the middle, and there's water in those, and there's a bunch of those around the room. And inside one of those, there are 3 fish, sort of bulbous, very large looking, pudgy fish-looking creatures. These look similar to what your ancestors might have described seeing some of here before. And they are doing some very interesting gymnastics, wrestling in this pool. These three fishies are up to, they're very busy at the moment, doing something that is physical and involving a lot of movement, and they don't seem to notice you.
Let's just keep going. Let's leave them to their fun.
As you walk into the room, oh, sorry, I should mention that there are 2 exits from this room. There's the one that you came in, and then there is another one on the west wall.
Granddad taught me to never to interrupt a blitzball game in progress, so yeah, we might want to move to the west exit.
So as you move across the room, the fish that were there don't notice you, but some other fish coming in from the room behind you do like yell at you, and you turn around and see that there are 8 of these fish creatures, and they all have spears, and they are all wandering or like looking at you angrily as you wander into this room that is for some reason very important to the fish creatures.
Oh. Okay. I know how to deal with this. We've been taught by our forebears, and the thing to do is offer them a sandwich.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So I will approach the whoever seems to be the lead fish.
Okay, well, so there's a couple of all the fish have spears, and most of them are not like wearing much of anything. But you actually, Crankor, you can see that there's actually a fish that is holding on to something in amongst them. It's holding a scrimshawed pearl.
Oh.
It's looking at you and sort of like playing around with the pearl with its fingers, and looking, maybe ready for action. And the one in the front, the very stern fish that was the first one to talk to you, not the one with the pearl, it's like, and you're offering the sandwich to it, and it's gonna knock the sandwich out of your hand.
Oh.
Hmm.
And it's gonna like point its spear at you.
Ooh. Okay. I will point towards the door we came in from, which I believe is to the north right now.
That's the door that they've come through. So they've come in after you.
Oh, okay. So I guess we'll point here and then north.
And he like points at the fish points around the room, and then the fish ranks part, and the fish gestures.
Horatio, are you getting any of this?
Not right now, but I'll try to think about it when afterwards. Should we try to go where they're pointing?
I think that's the way we should go.
Okay.
The pointy men want us to go in the direction that they point.
All right. So you head back north, to the room with the ship.
What kind of sandwich did you offer them?
Hardtack sandwiches. They're what fish love, right?
No.
I've been told. Well, what were the other exits in this room here?
So this one actually only had one other exit. Only the one that you went to.
We were told not to go through. So we could either look at the ship or go back or take the east and the west door from the first room.
Let's, I guess, take a minute to examine the ship then, now that we're back here.
Oh, I could take if we want to. While you're doing that, I could take a rest and try to figure out fish language.
Sounds good. I'll help look at the ship.
Okay, so the two of you are investigating the ship, and you're taking a rest. And where are you taking the rest? Are you hanging out in the middle of the room? Are you like going into a corner? Are you sitting on part of the ship?
Geez, what a good idea to think about where would the safest place be. I feel like, let's see. I mean, there's the whole thing about always being like able to see what's coming towards you. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm trying to go to like the wall by the door that would lead back to the stairs, just like right beside there, and sit against it as long as I'm not going to squish any kind of like sea creature or seaweed that's there, and just sit there so nothing can come up on me, but I can like hear things coming if they're coming from outside.
Okay. So what's going to happen is Shank and Crankor, you're going to start like checking out the ship, and you're going to find that there's like, okay, yeah, it looks like there are ways to get into the hold. There's ways to get into the cabin, that kind of thing. It's difficult though because you've got to kind of climb up on the thing to try and get a good purchase to actually open up one of these entrances. But you could probably do it. So you're going to spend some time doing that, assuming that you want to do that. And so you've got does someone have a crowbar or something, some other sort of piece of equipment that you could use to pry this open or
Yes.
get into it somehow?
I've got an eku, which seems long and pointy and possibly, most importantly, leverable.
Yeah, it's a weapon though. This isn't really what it's made for. So you're going to run the risk of breaking it if you do this.
I have a saw. Is it made of wood? Could we saw our way in?
Yeah, that'd take a lot of time though. I feel like it
okay.
would take a lot of time to saw your way into a ship.
Okay.
I'm not saying no, but it's going to take more than one investigation turn to do that. The Echo is an okay plan. It might do some damage to the weapon.
We'll take the risk. Yeah.
Okay, so it does one. It removes one durability from the weapon. It should have 3 durability, I think. But yeah, you're going to be able to lever it open. Around the time that they lever open one of the sort of say the door to the cabin, Horatio, you see 2 creatures walk into the room. They are dolphins. They're dolphins walking on 2 feet, and they're pretty like skinny and gangly looking for dolphins. So if you can imagine a dolphin that hasn't eaten in like 3 weeks, and is like pretty bony and whatnot, trying to move really stealthily with a nasty look in its eyes. There are 2 of them that sort of move stealthily into the room. It doesn't seem like Crankor or Shank have noticed them, but they haven't noticed you either because of your sort of positioning right next to the door.
Oh, good. How do I alert them without giving my position away? Oh no. Let's see. These look like bad dolphins, right?
I mean, they look sinister. I will certainly say they look sinister.
Okay.
They are wearing sort of scraps of clothing, maybe bits of canvas and such things. 2 of them have weapons made of, one of them has a weapon made of coral, but one of them actually has a weapon that looks like it was made of steel, potentially by someone in your village. Like it looks like the style that you would see from like above water crafts people.
Could be Shank's father's spear.
Yeah.
And they are
There is
talking
trade too.
to each other in a sort of dolphin-y way. Like I can't make the sort of glottal dolphin. Yeah, but
Yeah.
but like in hushed tones, quietly, as they sort of circle, as they coordinate to circle around to either side of the boat.
Oh gosh. Have me and Crankar gone in? Have we jimmied the door and gotten inside?
So this is like, yeah, you're just jimmying the door and you've opened it up. Now the door is kind of vertical, so you're having to do your best to kind of support yourselves and climb up into it. But you can definitely see as you sort of find purchase on the edge of the ship that there's a chest inside the cabin down here below decks. So it looks like there might be something there. It's again because the ship is all sort of off kilter. The chest looks like it's kind of fallen down inside, so you would have to climb back down inside the hull to get at it.
I do want what's in that chest.
Mm-hmm. I have 50 feet of rope.
Oh,
Is a new thing. we Could
That's-
we utilize this?
That sounds relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, the dolphins are actually going to yell at you. So one of them is going to go, and then the other one is going to go, stop, surface dwellers! Stop down from this most sacred site!
Well,
Oh, they speak English.
great. Crankor, what do we do?
I think we.
I
If we-
am Kalik, and this is Kalak, and do not make Kalak yell, for when he is angry, he yells very loud.
We're sorry, Calic. We didn't know that this was a sacred place for you. We're just here to try and return the crown.
I'm here to steal from the temple like the people who came from above the water before you.
No, not at all.
know you're kind.
No, we help people. We handed out sandwiches.
We only give. We've never taken.
You give nothing to the world below the surface. You are here to steal again from the deep lady, the wonderful deep lady.
Okay, can we produce the crown? I know that we've talked
yeah.
about. Okay, I guess if there's two of us, let's just say that one of us was holding on to the deep lady's crown. We're here to return it to her.
Okay, so they have shocked reverence to this. They draw back and they hit the dirt and bow to the crown of the lady. You will return the crown to us, and we will give it back to the place that it belongs.
Can Horatio just sort of pop up right now and be like, how about you take us there?
Yes, to show us where the throne room is.
You are not okay. So actually, there's some dolphin noises back and forth between the two of them. They have a bit of a slightly animated discussion that you don't understand. The two of them seem to be on opposite sides of it. So again, there's a lot of like the noise that I cannot make, but Andy apparently can. Kathleen, maybe it was Kathleen who made it. I don't know.
Yeah,
But one of
Kathleen
you can
did
make a dolphin noise. I cannot. There we go. Good. It just sounds like a very scary child when I do it. They make a lot of dolphin noises back and forth. And Kalik says, "Yes, we will escort you to the chamber of the deep lady."
Thank you.
Yes, you will come with us.
We greatly appreciate your we greatly appreciate your escort services.
And so they are going to gesture for you to get down off the boat.
We
Okay,
do.
get done. Yep.
All right, and at this point, they are treating you as prisoners. If you do not want to, if you want to act like prisoners, that's fine. If you want to act like you're not prisoners, that's fine. But they are watching you carefully. They have their weapons bared, and they are ready to they are ready for anything.
I mean, I also have my weapon. Like, I don't trust them that much. I just want to get this damn crown returned.
Yep, that seems relevant.
Yep.
Truce.
All right.
Truce.
So they're going to take you to the back north, and then they're going to take you west. And you're going to end up in a room that is very much like the one that you remembered your ancestors telling you about, that had the low ceiling and the grassy seaweed coming up from the floor. And in there are a bunch more of the fish people, and they seem to be they're searching for something, looking around, digging in the ground. They're like causing a fair bit of mess, because the ground of this room is actually sort of more of a dirty sand than the stone that you've seen in a lot of other places, and so they're like tracking dirt up all over and talking to. But Kalik, as you walk in, makes a bunch of like loud dolphin noises, and the fish people sort of stand up, look at the dolphin people, and then they kind of get out of their way. And they're going to take you through this room through the other side. And you're going to come to a room that is essentially a tube going up and down. And in this room, there's the sort of channels of water continue to fall off in sort of a waterfall-like effect down the edges of the cylinder, and like all around the outside as well, just cascading down around it. And they have this like again wonderful iridescence, but it is more or less a straight tube going down, and the in here, there are a bunch more fish people who are climbing up out of the tube, and just sort of like finding their footing on the outside. Now, these fish people are a little bit different. They have slightly iridescent markings about them, and much darker skin in general. Their eyes are like this pale white and bulge out a little bit more than the other ones. And the dolphin people again like talk to them in the dolphin language, and the fish people kind of actually give them a second glance. Like, and the dolphins are going to go,
Yes, now we will return you to the queen. You will jump into the hole.
Well,
That wasn't part of the deal.
The queen lives at the bottom of the hole.
How?
She dwells deep in the temple, and to get to her, you must go down the hole.
Can we just one point of clarification there? Is she directly at the bottom of the hole?
Deep in the temple, and if we sacrifice you to the hole, then you will return the crown to her. She will find it at the bottom, and it will come back to our people.
fish people don't look like they are understanding this conversation, and they are kind of like observing, but they look almost like they want to go past, like they want to go out the door that you just came through, but they can't because you're all standing in the doorway. So they're kind of just standing back and watching this play out as they kill time.
Are we? We're standing in the doorway.
So you're standing in the doorway of a cylindrical room. There's a big pit in the middle of it. There's a tiny walkway around the outside. The fish were climbing up the sides of the cylinder, and are kind of sitting on the ledge around the outside, waiting for you guys to do something.
Okay.
Ideally, go away.
Yes.
And the dolphins are getting in your business.
We're treated like prisoners. What's the? We're about to get into initiative here, I believe. But what's the layout of people around us?
We'll say that there are 4. So there's 4 of these strangely colored fish people, and they are hanging out. If you can imagine a semicircle, which is the half of the room, and the door is at, I guess technically the door is in the east. So door is in the east. There's a semicircle. There's you right inside the door. There's the dolphins behind you in the door saying jump into the hole, and then there's the 4 fish people sitting on around the edges of the hole, sort of cut 2 to your left and 2 to your right.
Okay. Because I'm trying to metagame here. Because are they technically in the room? Who is technically in the room?
You are in the room, and the fish are in the room. The dolphins are not in the room.
Perfect. I would like to cast Ward.
All right. So
Targeting cephalopods.
Wait, you mean
start-
dolphins?
Cetaceans! God, that was almost a Star Trek 4 situation. We brought you octopuses. That's what you wanted, right?
Yeah. That's what the man at the store told me you'd like.
So,
This is a
that
good
might
idea. They're going to see that you're casting a spell. So you want to cast the spell. They want to push you in the hole. Let's make an initiative roll to see which of those things happens first.
That's a very good point. Do you mind if I make the roll?
You should make the roll.
Spell?
It is your turn, and you have the relevant action.
So I could just not say what I rolled, or I could just tell you that I rolled a 1.
All right. All right. So the dolphins are going to see that you're casting a spell, and they are going to just go ahead and try and push you into the first one is just going to go ahead and try and push you into the hole.
Okay.
So what is your strength defense?
Strength defense is currently sitting at 12.
Okay, so this dolphin, which strangely has like kind of nasty looking claw flipper things, but like not really not hands in the same way that you have hands. Like the opposable thumb is a really, and I guess it does have kind of an opposable thummy thing, but maybe it's not as developed. It's like a small, thinny opposable thumb. The dolphin hand is not as good as the human hand for pushing people into holes.
Horses running fingers. It's horrifying.
It throws its weight against you, and for whatever reason, it's a very heavy dolphin. It loses its balance and kind of flops a little bit, and it needs to like stagger back a little to try and avoid getting tossed into the hole, or to avoid tripping and falling into the hole itself. But it does maintain its purchase, which is good for the dolphin. The other dolphin is just going to stab someone else. Presumably, it's not able to push you because it doesn't really have space. Only one of them can really get in the good body slam. But it's just it sees that someone's casting a spell and it's like, well, there's 3 human things. It's just gonna go after one of you.
One of them.
Yeah. So it's gonna go after Horatio.
Oh no. Well, luckily I took Mother's scale mail, so.
All right. Well, I have a 16 to hit you.
Oh no, that's a hit. I have a
All right,
defensive
and
14.
It's got a spear for 2 points of damage.
Hey,
you have more than
cool.
2 hit points.
I do. I have 5 hit points.
Okay, so
I guess now I have 3 hit points, but
so it's like it jabs at one of the meat bag or one of the upper. I don't want to say meat bags because of course they're meat bags too, but it jabs at one of the surfacers with its spear, and it does like cut into you and like draw blood, and it really hurts. But it doesn't actually kill you, which is nice. So the spear pierces you, and you do bleed, but you are not killed, which is nice. The fish are going to sort of draw back from this. The two fish that are on the where are the exits to this room? I'm gonna say that there's one to the south. So the two fish that are north of you are gonna start like climbing down the shaft and like around underneath you toward the south exit. They're kind of maybe done with this, as the other ones who are on the ledge are going to just shimmy over towards the south. They don't want anything to do with this. It's your initiative. So Crankor, your spell is gonna happen. This initiative.
Okay.
But
all the dolphins are inside.
they're not actually inside. I'm going to say that you're still, because of the way that the room is oriented, they're still sort of basically in the doorway.
Okay, perfect.
It's a judgment call whether you can like block, whether you're blocking them out of the room entirely. But for the purposes of this, I like this plan, so we'll say that they're outside the room.
We should leave here.
Bye, suckers.
Bye.
South?
Hey, do I understand fish talk yet?
No, you haven't taken a rest, so you haven't actually had a chance to learn fish talk.
Well, wait a second. So they're magically sealed from being able to get into this room?
Yeah, so
How long does that last?
Let's say that it lasts at least long enough it will last at least a turn. So
okay.
long enough for you to get away, but Crankor, you're not assuming that it's going to last, more than a few minutes.
No, this is not a forever spell.
Peace.
Yeah.
We're literally that GIF fading out. Goodbye.
Okay. So I'll say that after the spell goes off, those of you who are like right in front of the dolphins can shimmy around to the south. Those of you who are north of the dolphins, no, that's all of you. Whatever, you can just get out. You can shimmy around and try to get out the edge. I just want to make sure that there's no dexterity save involved in shimmying around the hole, which there might be.
It is very slimy.
No, you don't need to make one to climb around or to shimmy around the outside. So you're able to shimmy around to the south exit.
Excellent.
And I think, unfortunately, that is probably where we should call time on this. We are running out of time, and just as things are getting good, as I feel like you are making solid progress, we are probably going to have to begin our closing ceremonies, because we are at the end of our time.
Wow.
Well, you know what? This group of ancestors much better than the last group of ancestors.
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, would there have been a dex check for that shimmy?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
If you want to climb up or down like the fish were doing, there's definitely a dex check for that.
Heck no.
But no, I think you're okay for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that we are at the end of our time. So this has been an interesting experiment. I have really enjoyed checking out the system. I mean, not the system, but the adventure. This was kind of everything I had hoped it would be. So thank you for following me on this journey. I'm sorry that this is only like a one game thing, that the idea was to try it out, but it's also possible if there's another time where, we need to fill a slot or whatnot, we could come back to this and come back to these characters or different characters, and continue this journey, because this has been a really good time.
Thank you, Jer.
Thank you very much,
for running
Jer.
Absolutely.